Coming up in Jamaica magazine, a review of the works of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security in 2015. Details include the establishment of the Labour Market Information System and increased cash grant for PATH beneficiaries.
We will remain fixed on the targets and on the outcomes, that of breaking the intergenerational cycle of poverty and creating welfare to work opportunities.
There are also highlights of redevelopment work in downtown Kingston and Port Royal by the UDC. Hello, I'm Carrie Ann Smith, and your favorite magazine show starts now.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Protect yourself from the bite of this mosquito. A message from the Ministry of Health, sponsored by the NHF.
Good day, I'm Tamara McHale, and this is your GIS News for Thursday, January 14. The Jamaica Defence Forces capabilities have been boosted with the acquisition of 12 new Protected Mobility Vehicles, PMVs. The vehicles were commissioned into service on Wednesday by the Ministry of Defence, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller.
These vehicles have been struck by a variety of explosives and gunfire. Still, none of them have lost a soldier. This proves that we have indeed selected flexible and durable vehicles that will serve Jamaica well under virtually any condition, including during hurricanes.
Yesterday's ceremony also served as the commissioning of the new PMV squadron and facility at Up Park Camp. National Security Minister Peter Bunting underscored the importance of the squadron.
I believe that it will represent a good long-term investment, both in our military's capability to respond to the range of threats or emergencies, but also for our broad internal security needs.
The Ministry of Agriculture has begun the second phase of its rehabilitation program to assist farmers who were affected by the Mavis Bank fire last year. The second phase, which focuses on land preparation, will benefit some 35 coffee, banana and plantain farmers. During a follow-up tour on Wednesday, Agriculture Minister Derek Kelly handed out seedlings, fertilizer and land preparation checks to begin the process.
We had committed to giving them $30,000 per acre to help sustain them, and that is what we are doing to the farmers today. And I think they are very, very much satisfied for the support of the government of Jamaica through the Ministry of Agriculture and RADA is providing for them.
Approximately $25 million was spent to assist the farmers under the first phase of the rehabilitation program. The Kingston Container Terminal KCT is to be handed over to the concessionaire Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited by the end of March. Transport Minister Dr. Omar Davies told Parliament on Tuesday that this will be done after the completion of all financing agreement, which will release funds for the upgrade of the KCT.
Phase 1 works will commence immediately after handover. In fact, CMA-CGM has already shortlisted the firms which will carry out the dredging.
Dr. Davies says necessary documentation and other legal requirements are being put in place. The 30-year concession agreement with Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited was signed in April 2015. It gave the concessionaire and its sponsors until December of last year to secure funding for Phase 1 of the capital works at the terminal. Minister Davies says the loan application to the Inter-American Development Bank is now being considered, following delays caused by an exhaustive due diligence process by the main lender.
The board of the IDB approved the loan in mid-December, and the other financial entities are about to follow suit. The IDB has indicated that this transaction is, quote, the largest single non-sovereign guaranteed transaction approved for Jamaica. It's not a loan to Jamaica, but it's a clear signal of confidence in Jamaica's future.
Debate is to begin next week in Parliament on key pieces of legislation that will govern the financial services sector. Speaking at a JIS think tank session on Wednesday, Commerce Minister Anthony Hilton said the debate would be an important step in establishing an international financial services center aimed at transforming the country into an offshore financial hub. The minister said that while the Jamaica Institute of Financial Services JIF had been established, the legislative framework needed to be updated to allow the country to attract the right kind of investment.
We've talked about setting up a financial services hub. It will become a reality. We have, of course, JIFSA, which is the authority, which is already established and been established for some time. And we've worked through, in this period, in the intervening period, on the key legislation.
He said one of the legal documents to be reviewed was the General Partnership and Limited Partnership Act. Permanent Secretary for the Office of the Prime Minister, Elaine Foster-Allen, has indicated that she will be working to ensure greater synergy among the various divisions in the OPM. She was addressing the executive and staff of the Jamaica Information Service during a recent familiarization tour. JIS is one of a number of agencies under the OPM that was visited by the Permanent Secretary. Mrs. Foster-Allen said cohesion among the agencies could already be found in how they come together to produce important developments or moments. Highlighting the importance of information, she said there could perhaps be greater use of entities like the JIS to publicize the programs of the other agencies.
So we have development, we have information, we have sport, gender issues and so on. So I'm trying to find the thing that helps us all to cohere as a ministry.
Mrs. Foster-Allen took over as the Permanent Secretary at the Office of the Prime Minister in November of last year, following the resignation of Anika Miller. She was reassigned from the Ministry of Education. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Tamara McHale. Thanks for watching.
Program implementation remains strong. We also welcome the recent wage agreements. It was a proactive and important step in reducing Jamaica's public debt. A gradual economic recovery is underway. The growth outlook is improving. Growth is now projected to be about 1.4% for this fiscal year.
The government of Jamaica is on a mission, going for growth, staying the course, and transforming the economy through its economic reform program.
In 2015, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security secured hundreds of jobs overseas for Jamaicans under the Farm Work Program. Much more happened, and the full review comes up right now.
Whether it was Derek Kellier or Dr. Fenton Ferguson at the helm, in 2015, Jamaicans were supported to find employment, protected on the job, and given access to Social Security. We revisit the major happenings.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Security is perched on the threshold of a new and exciting mission and strategic focus.
The send-off for these farm workers was the start of another productive year for the Labour Ministry's Overseas Work Programme. The Canadian component alone employed 1,800 workers after an August recruitment exercise. Locally, the ministry established a satellite station for its labour market information system, giving Manchester residents a leg up in the employment race. In August, young people under the Programme of Advancement Through Health and Education, PATH, benefited from the annual Steps to Work summer camp held in St. James and Kingston. And while the ministry continued working on the Occupational Safety and Health Bill, it introduced a Workers' Safety Passport to improve safety standards for persons in the construction industry. Workers across the board benefited from an increase to the national minimum wage in January.
Our ultimate goal remains the transformation and improvement of the quality of our labor force.
The social security needs of Jamaica's most vulnerable and marginalized groups were also targeted in 2015. The budgets for a number of institutions dealing with the most vulnerable were increased in 2015. Among them, the National Council for Senior Citizens, the Golden Age Home, and the Denham Town Golden Age Facility. And in late November, government signed a $6 billion loan agreement with the Inter-American Development Bank to expand the provision of cash grants on the path.
We will remain fixed on the targets and on the outcomes, that of breaking the intergenerational cycle of poverty and creating welfare to work opportunities.
$75 million was also allocated under the Short-Term Poverty Intervention Project to protect the most vulnerable. The money is mainly for entrepreneurial ventures and the provision of compassionate grants. 2015 in the Social Security Ministry was also marked by greater strides in protecting persons with disabilities.
A person with a disability has the same fundamental rights as any other person.
And in a bid to improve service delivery to this group, the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, JCPD, conducted the country's first socioeconomic survey on persons with disabilities. Through the JCPD, 30 persons with disabilities also received a total of $4 million in empowerment grants for business and entrepreneurial ventures. Another 27 persons with disabilities got help landing a permanent job through the Social and Economic Inclusion of Persons with Disabilities project. The Abilities Foundation received $10 million from the Ministry and the Japan Development Grant to boost education and skills training. And the Early Stimulation Program, which targets special needs children, opened a new office in Portland.
We are going to move forward. We have to now look at the labor side, look at this ministry as being a critical part of the growth agenda, critical part of a 2030 development agenda, and critical part of agreements locally, regionally, and internationally, and tied into our ILO commitments and mandates.
So from improving the safety standards of workers, to providing more opportunities for employment, to protecting the needs of the most vulnerable, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security made major strides in 2015, and the work continues.
Our first mission is to diversify, to move away from this single source of diesel and heavy fuel oil, liquids, and to transition into other sources.
Catch the full review on January 15, right here on Jamaica Magazine.
The Program of Advancement through Health and Education PATH offers a wide range of benefits for students. Children on PATH are among the top achievers in the GSET and CSEC examinations each year.
It gives me a sense of stability and it takes some stress off my parents because even though they're working and money might not be enough, it helps them to send me to school.
If your family is struggling, PATH might be the option for you. Just take your birth certificate and valid identification to the Ministry of Labour and Social Security office in your parish. For further information, visit the Ministry's website at www.mlss.gov.jm or call 1-888-991-PATH. That is 1-888-991-7284.
Let's get a little breeze on this land. All right. Now let's get some bounce in the rhythm. All right. Let's get some fire on our hearts. Now that is what we call all right. Run, come, get some Jamaica.
Up next, a look at projects being undertaken by the Urban Development Corporation under its redevelopment of Downtown Kingston and Port Royal program. Our first stop is the Festival Marketplace downtown, and then we'll head over to the Old Naval Hospital in Port Royal. The Urban Development Corporation, in association with the Jamaica Information Service, presents Urban Scope. The Urban Development Corporation, UDC, continues to advance and spearhead the redevelopment of downtown Kingston. Among the projects undertaken is the build-out of the Festival Marketplace, which comprises 3 components: a food bazaar or food court, the Victoria Craft Market, and a spacious car park, all on one compound. The food bazaar is designed in a park-like setting with outdoor seating and has 5 duplex vending shops. The facility also has an information and security booth.
We believe that a facility like this will provide space for persons to relax, enjoy Jamaican food, the nice ocean breeze, and in general to use this space as part of their heritage.
This increased activity is also expected to revitalize nightlife happenings in the downtown area. As for the car park component, this area will also be utilized as an entertainment venue. With the expansion of the facility and an increase in the number of persons coming into the space, the 110 vendors in the Victoria Craft Market will definitely benefit and see growth in their businesses.
Once you have more persons visiting the area, they will then go into the craft market and their business will improve.
The revitalization of the Festival Marketplace will add to the redevelopment of downtown Kingston, increase economic activity, and create new small businesses and employment. The Festival Marketplace precedes other redevelopment plans for the Kingston waterfront by the UDC.
We hope to bring in international cruise vessels. We plan to have a floating pier close to this site as a start, and hopefully later on we intend to have Kingston Harbour developed as one of the stops for international cruise shipping.
That long-term plan is to build a fender pier and deck adjacent to the food bazaar to facilitate cruise ship passengers. The UDC says to date, it has been making headway in its undertakings of the redevelopment of downtown Kingston.
We have been very successful because most of the land that UDC owned is almost completely developed. We have about 4 lots left, and our development plan calls for the establishment, either built by UDC or in partnership with the private sector, residential complex, perhaps 10 or so stories overlooking the waterfront.
The UDC also closed a number of real estate transactions in downtown Kingston, such as the lease of the Ideal Warehouse to CD Alexander Limited, the Downtown Transport Center to the Transport Authority, as well as the development of a car park on Petron Street. A city with so much history, Port Royal, and the Urban Development Corporation is integral in its preservation. The corporation is undertaking rehabilitation work on the Old Naval Hospital at a cost of $80 million. The project is being financed by the Tourism Enhancement Fund, TEF. Phase 1 involves renovation to the roof of the main building and bathroom facilities, as well as the construction of a sewage system. Subsequent phases will carry out rehabilitative work to convert the complex into a multi-sensory museum space aimed at improving the visitor experience to Port Royal. The building is expected to house artifacts from the Port Royal glory days and the history of the town, as well as a covered pavilion area for large gatherings and events. The activity is part of the Port Royal Rehabilitation Project and is being guided by the Downtown Kingston and Port Royal Development Plan. It also forms part of the Port Royal Museum and Historic Walkway Project, which is foreseen to act as a catalyst for future development in the Port Royal area. The Urban Development Corporation, committed to making development happen for the people of Jamaica as it preserves the natural environment, traditions, customs, and spur economic growth. To learn more about the work of the Urban Development Corporation, call 656-8031 or visit their website at udcja.com. You may also follow them on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, or visit their information center on the ground floor, Kingston Mall, downtown Kingston. Urban Scope was brought to you by the Urban Development Corporation in association with the Jamaica Information Service.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Search for its breeding sites and destroy them. A message from the Ministry of Health, sponsored by the NHF.
A healthy and educated people living in a clean, natural environment, reducing crime, improving the justice system and governance, building a prosperous economy. It's not just a vision, it's reality. Learn about the plan. Join the vision.
My country, Jamaica, has a rich heritage and is very unique. If we all pull together, we can make it the place of choice to live, work, raise family, and to do business.
For more information on Vision 2030, call the Planning Institute of Jamaica or visit vision2030.gov.jm, your parish library, school library, or the Jamaica Information Service.
Measures deployed by the Ministry of National Security to stem lottery scamming activities have been reaping success. The ministry is also continuing its public awareness campaign, especially among vulnerable groups.
We know why, no let us scamming ya. We know why, no let us scamming ya.
Wise up, you, myself, wise up, you. A scammer, you want me to turn? Me not take that to the world. Me not go use no digi, nor no line to commit no fraudulent crime. Wise up, you, myself, wise up, you. It's better to learn the maths so you can get a good grade on your GSAT.
It's better to learn the communication tasks so it won't cause an alarm when someone you have to ask to fill out a simple form.
So guess what? Everybody read this to me now. Lottery scamming. Stop it before it stops you. Don't start.
This is really an intervention or an approach, a proactive approach that we are using to curb lottery scamming through social development. Because if we can get children to understand that lottery scamming is wrong and that it is a crime, right, then we will be starting a change.
Wise up, you, myself, wise up, you.
My girl, don't be a phone confederate. That's not what it means to be literate.
Use their knowledge, use their mind for the betterment of mankind. All of this is coming from my heart. So use education to play your part.
Get a good education. Stop lotto scamming before it stops you.
I want to ask you something this morning. Tell me, who wants to be scammed? Anybody here want to be scammed? No. That means you know what scamming is? Oh, you all know what scamming is? All right. Scamming is what? Tell me. It is stealing. You believe that? Of course, because it's not yours, and you call somebody, you know what they do when they scam? You call and you tell somebody that they win something. You know about that? When they didn't win anything, and you trick them and then you get them to send their money. It's not yours, so it is. It is stealing, and it is a trick, and it is pretending.
We know one, let us scamming ya. Learn about an ability thing. Learn how to spell and do your reading. Pay attention when teacher teaching. Run go to school before the bell ring. We know one, let us scamming ya.
We are going to be targeting also the high schools and the community colleges. And we are also going to be targeting the parent-teachers associations, the parent-teachers meeting, because we have to spread the message. Lottery scamming is wrong. It's a crime.
How can we prevent scamming?
By not tricking people.
Oh, give it up for him. Give it up. Come on, give it up for him. Such a brilliant young man. We have one more question. I'm going to ask you to give a statement. If you should say something to the scammers in Montego Bay, what would you say?
They should not scam because it will make them go to jail.
I think it is the way forward, not only for our school community, but also for the nation.
I believe that the MOCA team is doing a good job, and I would just like to encourage them to continue to go into more schools, as lottery scamming must be stopped, and it begins with the younger generation.
We know one, let us scamming ya. If you want to be something that you see and who do him running, put on the phone, don't alter when the law catch you. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Use up your hand and do the right thing. When result come, we know one, let us scamming ya. We know one, let us scamming ya. We know one, let us scamming ya.
If the call centers in Jamaica have to shut down, you know how many people would lose them work?
Thousands.
If the tourists stop come to Jamaica, you know how many people would have suffered?
Hundreds of thousands. People, don't skin up with no scammer. Don't take them blood money. It is killing Jamaica. Help put them away.
Silence brings violence.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
Our first mission is to diversify, to move away from this single source of diesel and heavy fuel oil, liquids, and to transition into other sources.
Catch the full review on January 15, right here on Jamaica Magazine.
Our show has come to an end, but Jamaica Magazine comes your way again tomorrow. So tune in for the major achievements of the Ministry of Science, Technology, Energy and Mining in 2015. In the meantime, you can stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. Keep sending your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the production crew, I'm Kerry-Ann Smith. Walk good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.